Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. It's game day. There's Greg
Hello.
Tepper.
I'm Greg.
But Greg is not the only one over there.
It's my name. Don't yell at
Boom!
me for being accurate. Wow! Making her Texas Football Today pre-show debut. We're joined by what's your title?
Senior Partner Services Coordinator.
That's a lot of
Okay.
words.
It's our operations lady.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
more
actual-
accurate,
It's
honestly.
our
I don't-
operations lady.
Senior Partner? Who's our partner? I don't know.
I don't know. It's Amanda Atwell.
Yes.
Hi, Amanda. We brought you on. We wanted to bring you on yesterday.
But you informed me 3 minutes before you were going on.
Welcome to Texas Football Today.
And I was on a call.
That's how things
It's not
go
my
around
fault.
It is your fault.
No, it's
It
not my
is.
fault. I refuse to take blame for this because the whole idea was to bring you on and not give you time to prepare. Because it's like, oh, hey, come on, we're gonna wish you a happy birthday. It was a surprise. But anyway,
Surprise. It's a day late.
Anyway, I want to wish you a happy 364 days until your birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
So
appreciate it.
think about this as a very early birthday.
364 days until I'm 30.
Present. Oh wow.
Oh, yeah, the
Isn't
big
that
one.
crazy? That's a big birthday.
Do you feel older?
Not really.
No.
I don't think I felt older since I turned 21. That year I felt older.
Yeah.
Now I do not. Now it's all a blur.
You have now been with us for about how long? 9 months?
December was when I
about
started?
9 months.
About 9 months.
About 9 months.
Yeah,
Do
because you got what thrown in on was it the weekend of state championships?
Yes,
Ooh.
that was my first.
That's a
my
hey here
first
kid
event I
swim.
worked.
drinking from a fire
end.
hose for
Toss it
sure.
in. Yeah.
Do you still like us?
I mean, I was gonna pack up my desk today, but I decided not
Okay.
to.
All right.
It's just kind of a-
tough but
You
fair.
should have done it on your birthday if you were going to do it.
Like-
that was the prime
like-
opportunity.
Yeah, y'all decorated it all nice.
We
Like, oh,
did.
it's a goodbye party. No,
Yeah.
No, I
Um,
still like everyone.
Where are you going tonight? You going to a game tonight?
I am going to my alma mater tonight.
Which is?
Keller Central.
All right,
playing
go
the
Chargers.
Keller Indians.
Oh, big rivalry matchup.
Massive. So when I called Coach Strelo from Keller, he's like, I don't know if y'all can come to this game. Just very stressed out about how tense of a rivalry it is. I guess it's gotten more tense since he
And
graduated.
it's most important that we have to mention that the head coach of Keller Central is
Mike Sports.
He was
Right.
there when I was there, and I didn't realize it. So I did
Mike
a check presentation there a
Sports.
couple weeks ago, and I told him because all the kids I went to high school with, they set all the records when we were there. And I was like, y'all got to get Martin Alvarez's name off this dang wall. And he was like, you were here when Martin was here? I was like, yeah. I mean, apparently he was an assistant back
Yeah.
then. So good to know.
Okay, so you came to us from the Rio Grande Valley.
Yes.
You were on television there in the
Yes.
Rio Grande Valley. Before that, you were in Amarillo. Were you there somewhere before
I was in
Amarillo?
Shreveport before. So
Shreveport.
I covered East Texas.
Okay, East
So
Texas.
Followed Carthage to a few state titles.
Which of those three parts of the state do you miss the most?
Amarillo.
The Panhandle?
Not even stuttering there.
Yeah.
Just Amarillo. I loved being up there. I think part of it has to do with not just like the area of the state, because I feel like you can make any area of the state feel like home. Like I love the Valley for what it offered at the time, but Amarillo, I was kind of put there at a really good time because it was fresh out of college. Everybody at my television station was around the same age as me. So
That
instant
helps.
friends, and I still have all of those friends. I just booked a trip to New York with one of those friends from Amarillo, and it was kind of like college senior.
Got it.
Because we're all the same age now, doing this real world thing together. Super poor, have the same random.
But
days
you're
of the
all
week.
poor, so it works
Yeah.
out. You don't have friends that are not poor. You're all poor.
Drinks in Amarillo were $4 a
There's-
beverage.
Yeah.
That's why Pickle and I don't actually get along off air because she's super rich and I'm.
No, because I'm a peasant,
Bro.
and he's been here for 11 years.
But no,
man
everybody's
thing.
kind of on the same playing field in this tiny small town that nobody knows, and you have the same like Wednesday, Thursdays off
Yeah.
because it was a weekend sports anchor when I was in Amarillo. So that, and then I connected well with the people of Amarillo. I like to call Amarillo mini Fort Worth because that's what it felt like to me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm from Fort Worth, so it felt kind of like it felt very similar to home, but on a much smaller scale. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, everything I've heard that people have started off in local news, they say they love starting out like with the Wednesday, Thursday off because like when you go out to do things, all the discount nights are happening. Like
Yes.
on the weekends, there's no discounts, whether that's food or drinks or movie theaters or bowling or whatever. All the discounts happen during the week. So it's like yeah, we want to go to happy hour because it's happening.
Yeah, and like randomly, that is a very good point because our favorite restaurant in Amarillo was called the Drunken Oyster. It was actually a restaurant that a chef, like a very famous chef, chose to open up in Amarillo. It was a Cajun restaurant. They flew in all their seafood overnight. Out of our price range every other day of the week. Wine Wednesday.
Oh, there
we
you
were
go.
there every single day. Our $5 glasses of wine, and we would split a crawfish quesadilla, and it was the best time.
Okay.
I can't say I've ever had a crawfish quesadilla.
It was. I mean, if
Those
you
are two
find
of my
yourself
favorite
in
things.
Amarillo and you need a little pregame snack, crawfish quesadilla, Drunken Oyster, one of the best things you'll ever eat.
Okay, so finally, because we do have to start the show here in just a minute, and we'd love to have you on. Well, actually, two more things. One, do you miss TV?
I miss parts of it. I think the part I miss is I find myself, I think I'm a really good writer and I think I'm a really good storyteller, and I miss being able to do that. I miss just kind of getting lost in the structure of a story. So there's aspects I miss. I do like having my weekends off, and I do like having my entire life not revolve around a TV schedule. But I actually really like the 2 to 11 p.m. schedule.
It's
as
not bad.
weird as that is.
I worked on the sports desk in Tulsa for a couple of months right out of college, and so my hours were 4:30 to 12:30, and I kind of loved it.
You can get so much done in the morning.
Oh man!
Like you can get your doctor's
You
appointments
can sleep
done.
in and still get a lot
Go to
done.
the gym, make your lunch, have time to make dinner that you can eat. It's just, I loved that.
I
schedule.
didn't mind flipping it. Okay, final question for you. Rank your top 3 employees at Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
Can I plead the fifth on this
No.
one?
No.
Okay, Adam Hochfelder.
Oh, that's a smart lady. Smart
He
lady.
he signs my paychecks.
He does. Good. 1.
Emma Klingenpeel.
Okay, Emma's 2.
And I'm gonna put Ty, Pickle, and Mallory.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. That's good.
You're
Emma-
down there somewhere.
Emma is this.
I'm for
Emma
it.
should be everyone's choice.
Yeah.
Like,
Emma-
I think there's a consensus that Emma is everyone's favorite.
That's right.
I don't like picking favorites because everybody's up there, because I have to say, and I'm not kissing up to anybody, this is the best environment I've ever worked in my life. So if you ever see a job open, you should apply, because it is the least toxic work environment I've ever been in my life.
And now you've been on the show.
Now I've been on the show.
That's great.
Finally.
Happy birthday, Amanda.
Thank you.
Yes, a happy birthday.
I hope you had a great time
I
on your bougie Instagram restaurant last night.
Yes, I did. I did not pay $25 for the champagne in the champagne.
It's
vending
$25
machine.
for that
Yeah.
little thing.
When they told me that, I was like, you know what? I'm
Wow.
just going to take a picture in front of the machine.
You and I are not the same. We are not the same. Hit the theme, Expo. Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas. It's Texas Football Today, a program on the internet. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, texasfootball.com, corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live, texasfootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all of the places, or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the Duchess of the Dorks. She was on the watch along last night.
I was. Hi,
She's
friends.
Ashley Pickle.
I have something in my eye, and it's if I am blinking uncontrollably at one point, it's that I can't get it out.
Should I just do the whole show holding the microphone like this?
No.
I won't. Today is Friday, September 20th.
Oh, you took the stand. I didn't realize you
Yes,
took the stand completely off of it. I don't put it on the X. Oh, that was loud.
You're loud. September 23rd at
Fair.
2022, 62 days until Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to...
Happy born day.
Happy born day to Ashley Pickle.
Oh, just no. I kind of flew past that. Our old intern Ryan, who is now working some at the Ticket. It's his birthday
cool.
today. Happy birthday, Ryan!
What's his
I think
last
that's cool. Baldwin.
Oh,
I
cool.
think it's dope that he's working at the Ticket.
Good for him. Happy birthday also to... No, I don't know. Who's somebody? I'm rolling through here. Oh, Jason Alexander. Happy birthday, Jason Alexander. He's George Costanza.
Okay.
It's episode 1463. On today's show, folks, friends, amigos, compatriots, we're going to announce the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week. Then the Dairy Max Built by Chocolate Milk Assistant Coach of the Week. We got one more thing to do. And then we got the Taki.
The Taki Sustainability Champion.
Thank you. And then it's going to be Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday. So if you got questions about high school football, if you got questions about college football, if you got questions about recruiting, if you got questions about lifestyle, if you got questions about romance, if you got questions about travel, if you got questions about birthday champagne, get in the comments. Facebook,
that's out
YouTube,
of both
Twitch.
of our. We got to bring Amanda
Facebook,
back in for
YouTube,
that.
and Twitch. Get your comments in, and we'll answer as many as we can up until we have to go. So get those comments in. But first, do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Tony Blaylock, just Chad, Tanner Solis, and Daniel Agnew. Welcome in, fellas.
Hello, friends. Thank you for spending a little bit of your day with us. Pickle, can we talk a little bit about the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week?
We sure can.
Because Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the leading publication for all things football in the state of Texas, and the Tax Act Texas Bowl are proud to recognize the most outstanding high school football player in the state each week with the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week award. Each week, the DCTF staff nominates 10 candidates for that week's award. Based on the previous week's on-field performance, we then leave it up to you to vote at texasfootball.com. Voting closes each Friday at noon, with the winner being announced shortly thereafter. Can you check your watch and tell me if it's actually shortly thereafter?
It is, in fact, shortly thereafter.
The Week 4 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week is...
boom!
Bang! Dumas athlete Emmanuel Ibanez, who went bonkers last week. 185 yards and 4 touchdowns passing, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing, an interception return for a touchdown, and he averaged 43 yards per punt. Congratulations to all the nominees: Silsby wide receiver Draylon Miller, Mineola running back and linebacker Dawson Pendergrass, ARP quarterback Frank Smith, Mount Vernon running back Mackenzie McGill, New Braunfels Canyon wide receiver Xavion Noland, Ingleside wide receiver Jaden Smith, El Paso Franklin wide receiver and defensive back Bo Sparks, DeSoto quarterback DJ Bailey, and San Antonio Davenport running back Shaston Golden. But a very special congratulations to the Week 4 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week, Emmanuel Ibanez, the athlete from Dumas High School. Congratulations, young man. Okay, Pickle. That's one award.
That is.
Another award. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Dairy Max and Dave Campbell's Texas Football are proud to team up this year to honor excellence in coaching and the hard work that assistant coaches put in on behalf of their teams. Each week, the Dave Campbell's Texas Football staff nominates 4 deserving assistant coaches for the Dairy Max Built by Chocolate Milk Assistant Coach of the Week, and let fans decide on the winner via a Twitter poll. It all leads up to the Dairy Max Built by Chocolate Milk Assistant Coach of the Year, decided at season's end. Without further ado, your Week 4 Dairy Max Built by Chocolate Milk Assistant Coach of the Week is...
And boom!
Bang! Dripping Springs offensive coordinator Al Pena. Quarterback Austin Novosad and the Tigers attack put on a show in their first ever district game in Class 6A, rolling past Austin High 77-0. Congratulations to all the nominees: Santo defensive defensive coordinator Nick Pike, Laredo LBJ defensive coordinator Luis Laureano, and Midlothian offensive coordinator Mike Crumbaker. But a very special congratulations to the Week 4 Dairy Max Built by Chocolate Milk Assistant Coach of the Week, Dripping Springs Offensive Coordinator Al Pena. Congratulations, Coach. All right, you want to talk about Takis?
There is one more award.
Talk about this. Takis is the presenting sponsor of the Sustainability Champions Award, spotlighting influential kids looking to pursue a career focused on the social, environmental, and economic well-being of our future. This week's Spotlight game features the Keller Indians and the Keller Central Chargers, where we will be spotlighting 2 Sustainability Champions Awards. For Keller High, it's Madison Fox, and for Central High, it's Carson Brown. Thank you to Takis for your support of the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Sustainability Champions Award. For more information, visit texasfootball.com. Let's pay one more bill, and then we'll get to Help a Honda Mailbag Friday. Here's a word from our friends at VCR Now.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
Every high school athlete wants to play on the big stage, and every parent wants their child to be the best. But is making your target list of schools based on top 25 rankings really the best strategy? What about academics, location, coaching style, financial aid? There's so many factors that should be considered when selecting a college program outside of on-field performance. Our friends at Athletes to Athletes have put together a recruiting guide centered around providing a broader, more holistic perspective about what your college experience could be. It's got checklists, do's and don'ts, key strategies, much more. It's a 22-page guide that covers everything you and your family should know as you walk through your college recruiting journey. And now, for a limited time only, Athletes to Athletes is offering this guide for free to our audience. Go to athletes.com/Dave Campbell today. Download the free college recruiting guide. That's athletes.com, athletes.athletes.com/Dave Campbell, or scan that QR code. Pickle, it's that time. It's time for Pickle. It's that time. It's time for Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday.
The North Texas Honda dealers want to help you score some great deals on award-winning Hondas. You can stop by your Helpful Honda dealer today or visit ntxhondadealers.com to learn more.
Love you, Honda. Love you, Honda.
Maybe I'll say it, and maybe they'll. Step always is like, "Hey Honda, if you want to give me a car, I'll take it." Maybe if I start saying it, they'll give me a car. That would be funny, because then I could look at Step and drive away going,
I love you most, Honda. Anyway, it's Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday. Get your questions in about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, anything you got. We can go until about 12:40 today to answer some of your questions. But first, let's talk a little bit about last night.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about your watch-along.
It was so much fun.
The watch-along live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Featuring Klein Kane and Tom Ball Memorial. An impressive win for Klein Kane.
Mm-hmm.
They looked the part. They were the number 21 team in the state coming in, and they looked very, very good, especially early in the game. Tom Ball Memorial kind of got their wheels on just too late in that game.
Yeah, we were very excited that they came out in the second half and looked like there was at least a little bit of juice, because that could have. We were looking at it after the first quarter going,
It's just going to be 63-0.
We're literally going to be sitting here talking about a blowout.
Right, exactly. So it ended up being a pretty decent game, but yeah, Klein Kane gets the win. How was the watch-along? It was you, Ish, Mallory, and then our friend Mike Roach from 247, and who's their hawk in his book, and Mount Pleasant head coach Joe Cluley.
It was fantastic. It's always great to have Mike Roach in studio. Coach Cluley was exceptional. Like, that guy, when someone mentioned that in the watch along, they're like, the two of them need their own podcast. Like, Roach and Cluley could absolutely have they could call it like the beard game or something. Mm-hmm. But no, Coach Cluley is fantastic. I love that. I always get big enjoyment out of hearing a defensive coach come in and see the ball, because I would say that I tend to focus a little bit more on offenses than I do defenses. So getting that and every normal fan does, because that's what's exciting. That's what you get to see.
You follow the ball.
Exactly. But to hear a legit defensive mind come in and start talking about that, it really was. It was really fun. Mallory, I was pumped up that Mallory was there, because she had some really good questions that I wouldn't have thought about. So yeah, it went really well. We had a good time.
It was a good time.
So thanks to everyone who watched.
I got to watch.
I got Alfredo's.
I got to watch, and I enjoyed watching. It's the first one I've ever been able to watch, because I've been on all of them. But we're trying to cycle the staff through. Our plan right now, I can tell you, is to do another one in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. We'll have more information on that later, and then probably do one of the playoffs too. So we'll have 3 watch-alongs throughout the course of the year.
Yeah, so Mallory said she had so much fun last night that we're both just going to sit back here and help kind of troubleshoot for the next one, because it's fun.
Sounds good. Yeah, because Craven's called ISO for the second one. He's got to be on it.
Yes.
And I'm going to be on it too. I'm not missing another one.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was good. Last night, the big game of the night was down in Farr, and our own Matt Stepp was there for it for PSJA North and Edinburgh Vale, and PSJA North gets a 28-21 win to take command of that district and to probably stake their claim as the best team in the Valley. Mm-hmm. I made the comment on Twitter, and I'm willing to back it up again. I think that's the first of 2 meetings, because I think they're going to see each other again in a regional final. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was, and the thing about PSGA North is that they won by dominating up front, by winning the last scrimmage. I talked about in my picks video about how the big key for PSGA North was going to be a couple of big plays from Alejandro Aparicio. Sounds like he was very good last night. And their offensive line has to take advantage of a smallish defense from Edinburgh Vela, and they did that. So, great win for PSGA North.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I don't know. I think this is the year a Valley team can make a run. I think we thought it might be Vela. And here's the other thing about this, and I'll just throw this out there. I want to talk with Step and get
So I have.
Okay.
Step and I talked this morning, and there were two things that he said, and this bodes really well for the regional final if they're able to make it there. One, he completely agreed. He said the difference in that game was the offensive line for PSGA North. So you called that one. That's exactly what ended up winning them the game. But what he said that the coaches were talking about afterwards is he thinks that really what happened when it came to the Vela side of things is that they have just mauled everyone that they've played. They have never had to be in that situation where when you go into the fourth quarter, you're down and you have to fight your way back up. So he said that he thinks that they all said that it was just a shock for them of not knowing how to keep your head up and keep going or how to play down. They looked frazzled. So how that bodes well for the regional final if they play. Vela's not going to make that mistake again. And I think it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out at that point because I think it would be the ultimate competitive game and would still be super close.
It's a young Vela team.
Yes.
It's a veteran PSGA North team. That was a veteran win last night. It's a young Vela team. How well they go from here is going to be telling. The other thing about this, I wonder how much gamesmanship there was in this. For these two coaches, do they unload the bag in this game, knowing full well that you may see them again? Did they hold something back? That's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on. Anyway, that was the big result from last night. I also want to make sure we give a shout-out. Did you see San Antonio Sotomayor won?
Oh, no.
San Antonio Sotomayor got a win last night, I believe, over Holmes, and it is their first ever victory in program history. So congratulations to San Antonio Sotomayor on their big win.
There was another one real fast to get into that was Crazy Town Banana Pants, as you would say. Morton Ranch.
Yes.
Winning, I think it was 77-63 over Cinco.
The wild game.
Unbelievable. And that one has big implications for the playoffs.
So the reason that has major implications is that Cinco has already beaten Tompkins, and that was a pretty big upset last week. Now Morton Ranch goes out there and beats Cinco, okay? If Morton Ranch makes the playoff, Morton Ranch is the smallest team in District 19 6A. They're the smallest team. If they make the playoffs, the possibility, especially like if, for example, if Pato and Morton Ranch make the playoffs, Katy goes D1. The possibility of Katy going to the Division I bracket increases exponentially. And at that point, then it's everyone piled into the Division I bracket. We had this like in 2018 or something like that.
Yeah.
Everyone piled into the Division I bracket. It's like just a chainsaw factory.
Well, because, we have people saying who would be the favorites in 3 and 4. Well, hang on, I guess that's in 6AD too. But in that one, I think that Lake Travis and Westlake are almost guaranteed to both go D1.
They are.
So,
like, because I believe Del Valle, because Del Valle is the team that could bump Westlake down, and Del Valle's down bad. And so at that point, you're talking about Westlake and Lake Travis in Region 4. You're talking about North Shore, Atascocita, and Katy.
In Region 3.
Any number of other big headliners there from the Houston area in Region 3. You're talking about everyone piles into the pool there in Division 1. And on that right side of the bracket in Division 2, suddenly you're like...
we talked about it on WTF yesterday. Now, I think Dripping Springs will have something to say about Region 4 because they're in 26 6A. But what about a team like Harlingen? I think other than Drip, they would be... Because I can't figure out the pulse on Vandergrift, but I think...
Maybe it's Vandergrift.
Maybe
it's Harlingen. Maybe it's Dripping Springs. Maybe it's...
Manor. Well, Manor's in Region 3.
3.
Yeah. Which I think they would be the favorite then in Region 3.
Maybe. I mean, there's like last year, you remember, like it could be like Humble Summer Creek or someone like that. So there's a lot of different possibilities there. And if Katy goes D1...
Chaos.
Then it is really... Like, not only does Division 1 become this, just like I said, chainsaw factory, but also you're talking about a vacuum in Region 3, Region 4 of Division 2 bracket in 6A, and that could be huge implications. Anyway, that was a big result last night. Pickle, do we have any questions from the people? I want to hear from the people.
We sure do. Let's go with, is Erie and County having a game tonight? If not, or who are they playing? Do we know?
Erie and County? What an odd question. I have Erie and County playing Rotan. Now, Rotan's had a weird year, and I'm not sure if they're consistently fielding a team. Let me see this. I've got them listed as playing Rotan. But let me see, according to Twitter. Yeah, I've got them playing Rotan tonight, so we'll see if Rotan's out there playing a game. But yeah, for now, it's Erie and County and Rotan. I hope that answers your question. That Erie and County.
All right, let's go with thoughts on...
We're a scheduled podcast. You just asked me, like, what time's the Westlake game kickoff? 7:30. TexanLive.com.
I did get a phone call one time from an elderly lady asking me, like, a question on what time the game started, and I was like, "Oh, ma'am, okay, hang on."
I love it. I love people.
That being said, the elderly woman is allowed to do that. Do not start calling me or emailing me asking what time games are. I will not answer you. Let's see. We'll go with college question real fast. What's the likelihood that we see Quinn play this weekend for Texas? He's making the trip. I do know that.
Low.
Yeah.
I think it's low.
Because you don't want him to play before Oklahoma.
I think he is there as an emergency quarterback, which is strange because I think he's there in his emergency quarterback, which is strange because I would expect. Now, maybe they just don't want to get out of their rhythm, but you know who I think their emergency quarterback should be? Rashawn Johnson.
Yep.
Who was a star quarterback at Port Neches Groves.
Yep. Now,
I'm not Steve Sarkisian. Steve Sarkisian's forgotten more about football than I'll ever know, but I just think that that's a little bit odd. And so I think the chance that Quinn Ewers plays this week is pretty low. If I think something would have had to go wrong for that to happen. And maybe, it may be the situation where, because Hudson Card played that entire game last week, right, against UTSA. Looked okay. I thought he looked okay.
Yeah, he was hurting, but he was playing through it.
I think if he gets hurt, maybe they just don't have a ton of faith in Charles Wright.
Yeah.
Right? That may be
that seems
like,
what
if he
it
gets
has
hurt,
to be.
We don't want to go to Charles Wright. We'd rather have Quinn Ewers at 80% or 70% or whatever he's at than a full strength Charles Wright. That might be the situation. But Malik Murphy's also on the roster, so I don't really know what they're doing.
For me, when you start getting into I'd rather have him at 80% than 100 for seeing a player that legitimately has really not played more than maybe 15 snaps in the past 2 seasons, because he didn't play his high school season, his senior year, he didn't play last year. It's like I worry at that point. Like just hold him off.
Yeah, I agree, but he's gonna travel and he's gonna dress, so we'll see. Anyway, what's next, Pickle?
What are the chances of DeSoto beating Waxahachie tonight?
Fairly good.
Yeah.
I think they're the favorite in this one. Now, Waxahachie's 4-0 for a reason, but I think that this game being at DeSoto is a big advantage for DeSoto.
Yes.
I think that they are a team that, at home has been very strong recently. I also think that the way that they're playing right now is, DJ Bailey, I think, is in his bag. He's playing very well. Distribute the ball out to him. Now, I will say this about them. I don't know that we know a ton about DeSoto because their wins this year are over a team from New Orleans in Oregon. And then they beat South Oak Cliff, which is a good win, but they're also DeSoto is like a big 6A. They got an enrollment of 2,800.
Oh yeah,
right. So being a 5A Division 2, okay. And then Dallas Skyline, who's down bad. That's their wins this year. Waxahachie will be, in my estimation, the best comparable team that they've played, right? Now, I don't know a ton about the St. Francis Academy out of Maryland that they lost to by 40.
Yeah.
But, I would say that this is a Waxahachie team that their offense has been playing particularly well, and a lot of it's going to come down to, can that defense continue to stand up and do what they've done? Because the other thing about Waxahachie,
we don't really have a good beat on them either. Like, I will say,
their opponents are combined 2-14 on them.
Yeah, Ennis. I think Ennis is down bad. I don't think Grand Prairie is anything special, and I think that Cedar Hill is down real bad. But still, I think those were some garbage time points to really go out there and do 51-21 against Cedar Hill. I feel
They're
like
51-7.
Yeah, I feel like that's enough to say, okay, this one should be close. Like it shouldn't be a blowout by any stretch.
No, I think it's going to be close, and there's a lot of this is going to get chippy. There's a lot of bad blood between these two teams.
Really good secondaries on both teams.
So this will be a really fun matchup here. I like DeSoto, especially at home, but if this game were in Waxahachie, it might be different. But I do like DeSoto. What's next, Mademoiselle Pickle?
Let's talk about a game live on Texan Live.
Live on TexanLive.com.
Barbers Hill and LaPorte.
Yeah. Barbers Hill coming off of a really nice win last week. And they got a great win last week over Crosby, which might have flown under your radar, but it was a 28-27, nice upset win to move to 2-0 in district. Taking on a LaPorte team that is 3-1 on the year and has been very, very strong, I think, specifically offensively. Their offense has really taken flight since that week 1 loss to Deer Park. And remember, that's a 6A, that they lost to. And it's a 5-0 6A, by the way. Deer Park's now 5-0. They won last night. This is a critical matchup, I think, in District 8 5A Division 1 as far as just sorting things out, where these teams are going to land. Because I do think when you take a look at this district, I think frankly, there's 5 spots for 4 teams, right? Port Arthur Memorial, Barbers Hill, LaPorte, Kingwood Park, and then Crosby. I think there's 5 spots for 4 teams. Maybe Baytown Lee gets in the mix. I don't know. They got to figure out their defense in a lot of ways. But as far as this game tonight is concerned, I look at LaPorte and I want to see exactly where that offense lands against a team that can punch back, because they've put up some big numbers against teams that I don't think can have a ton of punch back. Barbers Hill is going to have that ability to punch back. And furthermore, I do think that this is a Barbers Hill offense that is starting to figure things out offensively. Cody Fuentes, their quarterback, was spectacular last week. Really, really strong last week. Can he put on another big show here in another critical district game?
Yep.
I lean towards... It's a close game. I lean towards Barbers Hill. I think that offense right now is really cooking, and if they're able to continue that, then I think that they're going to be the favorite here. But I do think that this is a close matchup, and obviously a really important game in the shape of that district. What's next, Pickle?
And I have this crowd of fighting Ishmael Johnsons coming after me. Yes, Manor is in Region 4. I said Region 3. You were correct. It is in Region 4.
No, they're not.
They're 25? Yeah.
No, they're Region 1. Come at me, at Tepper on Twitter.
Let's see. So is Galveston Ball's 4-0 record surprising? How are they looking in 5A
I'm really
D1?
glad someone talked about finally a team I want to talk about.
Well,
I want to talk about all the teams.
They're in the Houston. Let's take a look at where they're at here. They're in the Houston ISD. So I don't think them being good is surprising, but they have only allowed 1 score, so that might be a little surprising.
So here's the thing. Gal Ball is my most fascinating team in Texas right now. Okay, they're fascinating because they're 4-0, and they're. I'm going to tell you this. You heard it here first. Galveston Ball is going 10-0. Galveston Ball is going 10-0.
Yes,
they've played their toughest games already. Their toughest game was probably that week 2 matchup
against
at Texas City, and they won 7-0. Okay. I don't know how good Galveston Ball is, but they are now in the Fort Bend Marshall spot. You remember Fort Bend Marshall used to be in a district where nobody could challenge them. They would just roll through them. They're in that Houston ISD district where they're just going to mow down people, okay? This week, or rather on an open date, then they play Houston Sharpstown, okay? Sharpstown's 2-2. The computer, I'll just tell you right now, the computer has them as 8 touchdown favorites, okay? Large favorites. They're going to be favored in every game pretty significantly in every rest of their games. Excuse me. Now, how good are they? I'm not sure. I do think the fact that they're winning with defense.
Yeah, they've
impressive.
only given up 7 points on the entire year in 4 games.
I went back and I watched it because I was so fascinated. There's a stream of their opener against Lamarck. Lamarck and Galball. And they won that game 49-7, right? They gave up a touchdown in the final minute of the first half. Okay? It's a passing touchdown. Nice play. 33-yard touchdown pass. That's it. That's all the points they've given up this year. And you know what? Not going to be a ton more points scored on them. Okay? Now, What you've got to worry about is that what Fort Bend Marshall ran into last year, because Fort Bend Marshall ran into the dreaded 10-1, because they are. Let me make sure I pull this up. Let me see if I can be smart about this. So they are going to. They're obviously they're in 5A Division 2. They're a team that I think right now. Let me see what our playoff projections would be. Let me see. Where are you? Go. That's not you. 5A Division 1. I mean, our playoff projections. What you run into is, like, for example, you know who they might see in the first round? Manville.
Mm-hmm.
And Manville, say what you want about them, right? Off to a bit of a slow start. That's going to be the best team they've seen for at least 2.5 months.
And I was going to say, when you get to your 11th game of the season and you have not faced anyone, it's the same thing we talked about with Edinburgh Vela earlier, is the fact that they didn't know how to play from being down because they just keep destroying everyone. So it's a completely different game at that point.
So it really is. And so I like Galveston ball a lot, and I think there's a chance they really are for real. But I'm not sure we're going to know. It's one of those teams that, unfortunately, we're not going to know if we're wrong until it's too late. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the next big game they play is going to be their first round playoff matchup, and that's going to be the biggest game of their season. What's next, Pickle?
Okay. We've had this conversation a bunch, but why is North Shore not ranked number 1 when you and Step both have them playing in the state title game? And let's talk about how our rankings work. We build off of them each week. We set the preseason rankings, and we build off of them each week. What has Westlake done to merit being moved down at all?
So there's a healthy conversation to be had that North Shore's resume would give them that they should bump to number 1.
Right.
There's a reasonable argument to be made. Now we come together, and this is a staff decision. This is a team decision. We all come together and we do our rankings, and we've continued to rank Westlake number 1 in large part because of inertia. Like, they've been number 1. They're the 3-time defending champs. They deserve that kind of spotlight, right? Right. But there's also, you've got to remember that in a lot of, like, especially when you get to teams that are really closely matched up. Like, for example, I think, do we agree? Let me ask you, Pickle. Do you agree that both Westlake and North Shore you would qualify as elite?
Yes, they are the 2 top teams in the state of Texas.
Correct.
I think hands down.
I think they are the 2 best teams in the state of Texas. When you get to the point where you're talking about elite versus elite, I look at styles. And I think styles make fights and things like that. Right now, I would take North Shore over Westlake. That's me. Your mileage may vary. You may think that Westlake's going to go out there and win that game. And I think you're certainly within your rights to think that. That said, for the rankings purposes, when you take a look at the where we started with Westlake being number 1, North Shore I think being number 2 to start the year, there's nothing that Westlake has done to lose that number 1 spot. Now, if they go out there and they struggle against Lake Travis, they don't even have to lose. If they struggle against Lake Travis,
then that's where the style points. When you get into elite, you have to look at style points too.
I mean, we're talking thin margins. If we could have a 1 and a 1A, we'd have a 1 and a 1A right now. I'll tell you that much. But for now, I think a lot of it comes down to Westlake started the year number 1. They've won every game. They've won every game convincingly, and they've looked pretty darn good doing it. So they haven't shown any weakness. Until they show weakness, they're probably not getting rid of that number 1 spot. Rankings also are fun, but
they don't mean everything.
What's next?
Let's go with, who do you see coming out of the top 4 from the Liberty Hill district? Lockhart should be one of them. That would be District 13, 5A Division 2. In that district is Bastrop, Cedar Creek, Kerrville-Tivy, Liberty Hill, Lockhart, San Antonio Piper, and San Antonio Veterans Memorial.
Fun question. I think, okay, I'm going to pencil Liberty Hill into 1. Is that fair?
Yes.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to pencil San Antonio Veterans Memorial into the second spot. I think that they have looked pretty good. Who is their loss to? They had a loss earlier this year. It was to Taft, San Antonio Taft, which is a 6A. It's 6A, and it's a pretty good 6A.
Yep.
So it's a relatively competitive loss. So I got them as 2.
I think Lockhart's 3.
Yeah.
I
can see Lockhart 3. Let's put it this way. I think the next 2
are
Tivy,
for the taking.
Are Tivy and Lockhart.
Yes.
In some order.
Yes.
In sort of more. And they will play each other. Lockhart plays Tivy end of the year. That may end up being for third and fourth, like seeding purposes. I do think they're better than, I think that those two teams are probably better than Bastrop. I mean, here's the thing. Those other three teams, it's tough to say, but they're all over, right?
Yeah.
Cedar Creek is really struggling defensively. Piper in their first varsity season is really struggling offensively. And then Bastrop's off to a really tough start because they can't stop anybody. So I would say that those are pretty clearly the top four. Right now, sports gun to my head, I'd go Liberty Hill, Veterans Memorial, Tivy, and then Lockhart. But
I would switch the other two. I think Lockhart's better than Tivy.
I think that's fine. I think that's a really close matchup. I think Liberty Hill and Vets are pretty clearly head and shoulders above one another, those other two. But I think that the next two in some order are Lockhart and Tivy, in my opinion. What's next?
Does the winner, or does the loser between does the loser between Amarillo Caprock and Lubbock Coronado tonight miss the playoffs?
We get to talk about one of my favorite districts.
That's interesting. Yes, 2-5A Division 1.
2-5A Division 1 is nuts. And
Yes.
we mentioned that even like when realignment came out, we were like, man, this is a really tightly packed district. So you're talking about a district opener between Coronado and Caprock. Now, Coronado's off to a slow start at 1-3. I also think they were a pretty hard luck 1-3.
Yeah,
they're about.
It's been one score games.
They're about
basically
3 plays from being 3-1.
Yep.
I mean, they got.
Which you have to finish.
like that-
We're not saying that,
No, you got to finish for sure. And
But if you
it's
can
not gonna make
start
any
to do that,
excuses.
yeah.
But like, they are. That's a perfect example of a team that probably is a lot closer to 2-2 than they are 3-1. Or I'm sorry, 1-3. And so taking on a Caprock team that's 3-1, coming off of their first loss of the year last week, to Canyon. And I know there was a play in that game that people are pretty hot after, that there's a penalty that they didn't like. That's part of the game, unfortunately. Win the game on the field. What my concern about them is, about Caprock, is that was the first time they faced a team with any sort of consistent like offense that could punch them in any sort of real way, and gave up 35 points to a 4A team. That's a little concerning to me. Going up against a Coronado team that I think has been, one of the things about Coronado is that I think they've played a much tougher schedule. Like they're 1-4, they're 1-3, but like the loss to Wichita Falls Rider and the win over Abilene Cooper, the loss to Abilene Cooper, those two results. And then, by the way, they have a loss at Midland, and Midland's better than we thought they'd be. That's a 6A. I think if you are stacking up the results of these two teams, they would certainly have the top 2 and certainly 3 of the top 4 results. And so I look at this, and I lean towards Coronado to win this game tonight. Now, what does that mean in the grand scheme of things?
I think that means that the two of those programs and probably Amarillo are fighting for that 3rd and 4th spot.
Yes. I think it's. I mean, a lot of it. Okay, are you ready to throw dirt on Abilene? Like, I don't know if I'm ready to throw dirt on Abilene.
I don't think Abilene's defense can stop some of these offenses.
To me, it's their offense. Their offense hasn't produced at all. If their offense gets out of like neutral, I've been saying that a lot this week. I've been using like get their offense into certain gear a lot this week.
Big car guy.
Big car guy. Yeah, me, car talk. If their offense can get going, then I think Abilene's right back in that mix. But the offense has not shown anything.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Right now, I think I'm ready. Okay, 2-5A Division 1. I'm ready to say Tascosa and Cooper are getting in.
Yes.
That's me right
those,
now.
Those
I think
seem
those
like
two
a
are
lock.
getting in. I think it's a 3-way dance right now with an invite pending for Abilene to join this dance.
If they can get going.
Between Caprock, Amarillo, and Coronado. And so I think whenever Caprock plays Amarillo and when Lubbock Cooper or Coronado plays Amarillo, those games, and then obviously the 3-way dance, however that shakes out, but I think if you're Coronado and you win tonight, you feel a lot better about things.
Yes.
If you lose tonight,
Yeah,
whoever loses
now
this
you're-
game
yeah.
is going to feel like they're behind the 8 ball, and they're going in, and they're kind of praying that, like, at that point, they become the team that just beat them's biggest fan and say, we need you to go out there and beat Amarillo
Yep.
so that, and Abilene, so that all we got to do is win our games and we can get in. That's where I'm there. So it's not over for the team who loses, but they
But the
are
pressure's
digging
on.
themselves a hole. Yes. Let's do 2 more.
What are your thoughts on El Campo versus Navasota tonight?
Yeah, another like district showdown that kind of snuck up on people, but this is a really interesting matchup. A lot of which is because Navasota, I think, is better than we thought they'd be.
Yeah.
I was kind of lukewarm on Navasota entering the year. I thought, okay, well, exactly what is this team going to be? But that win, now they beat Geronimo Navarro in the opener.
Mm-hmm.
How Geronimo Navarro is,
I think
to
they're
start the
down
year,
this year.
I think they're down,
Yeah.
but your mileage may vary. They get a good win over Madisonville on the road.
Mm-hmm.
They get beat by Belleville. That's happening to a lot of people these days. And then they beat Huffman Hargrave, which I think is a better record or better game or better win than people would think. I think that especially their defense has been a little bit better. Well, like the Belleville game notwithstanding, the defense has been a little bit better than I thought they'd be.
Mm-hmm.
So El Campo's interesting because El Campo loses the opener to Cuero. They lose to Corpus Christi Miller. They start 0-2.
Mm-hmm. That week 2 loss was bad.
Yeah.
It was
Miller.
very bad.
They lose by 20.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. Now, they go and they beat Corpus Christi Vets, and then last week they get Ruben Owens back from injury.
Mm-hmm. And
they hang a 50 burger on Wharton. Now, here's the funny thing. I don't think Wharton's all that good.
No.
My opinion. I think El Campo is just better than Wharton.
Mm-hmm.
But a 50 burger is a 50 burger. How much of it was Ruben Owens?
Mm-hmm.
How much of it was, because their offense was kind of just okay for the first 3 games. How much of it was Ruben Owens? How much of it was the opponent? We'll find out tonight. The computer's got it basically a pick 'em.
Right.
I want to say I took El Campo, but on the road worries me.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a haul from El Campo to Navasota.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with El Campo. I'm going to stick with them, but I think for a district opener, this is a fun match.
Yeah, and Navasota's a pretty young team too. So now it's kind of like figuring out, okay, how much has that like good sophomore class especially, and then a pretty good junior class really stepped up now that they have a couple games under their belt.
I agree. Do we have an ender?
Yes. How about let's go way out west here, small school ball. Let's talk about Panhandle and Wellington.
I'm glad you mentioned this. I believe, are we going to have a reporter this
We
week?
are. Austin Ivan will be
Austin
there.
Ivan. Our own, she's getting up. She played ball at Oklahoma State, so I always think of like that, like north as being her area.
It's north in the complete opposite direction.
But it's still North Pickle. Hang with me here.
Yeah, lost when you go in east and west.
We talked about this briefly yesterday when we were doing our top 10 games because I do like this game a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Panhandle is a really intriguing team that I'm almost ready to jump on board.
Yeah, because it looks like they have a defense for the first time in forever.
The fact that they're scoring is not a surprise. Dane Ashley's sponge always puts up points, and Landon Hack is...
I think they had like multiple 70-point games last year.
Their offense is humming. What is encouraging to me is it does appear that their defense has taken a step, and that's encouraging. Now they're taking on a Wellington team at 3-1. They had their first loss of the year back in week 2 when they lost to Lubbock Christian, who's a good private school team.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the issue with Wellington for me and why I like Panhandle in this game. I think I took Panhandle in the picks. It's a close game. I'm taking Panhandle now, and I'll tell you why. I think that I have big questions about Wellington's offense.
Mm-hmm.
Their offense right now is averaging something along the lines of like 22 points a game. That ain't going to work. Work.
Yeah.
They had one big offensive
24,
outburst.
24, 42, and 14.
They had one big offensive outburst against Amarillo River Road, who they're just better than. It's a 2A over a 3A, but still, they're just better than. But here's a team relatively within their weight class with a defense that's good, but I don't think anybody's going to mistake Panhandle for some sort of defensive juggernaut.
Right.
All they have to do with that offense is be pretty good defensively, and I think they're pretty good defensively.
But if it gets
There
into
are
a
plays
shootout,
to be made there for the Skyrockets. Now their defense has been great, so that's a real strength on strength matchup of the Panhandle offense against the Wellington defense. But for me, I got to see this Wellington offense get going, and this is an opportunity to get going against a defense that is. There are plays there to be made. I like Panhandle. Contrary to what maybe I said in the picks, I don't remember. I recorded that on Tuesday. I scripted it on Monday. I don't know. As this week has gone on, I've talked myself more and more into liking Panhandle.
Yeah, which is
a 2A Division I sleeper.
Like, I think that the Wellington offensive line is really, really good. Like, I think that's where most of their returning strength came back to. But they did lose Mark Ramirez, which hurts obviously. Yes. But the other two running backs, I have their names somewhere. Barrett Phillips and Guillermo Rincon. Apparently, Coach was saying that they're a pretty good 1-2 punch. I just don't think they've really had that explosive power that if Panhandle was to put it in a shootout, then you're not gonna get it off. You're not gonna get it off fast enough.
The other thing for me about this game is this is the last real big data point for Wellington for a while because get an off week, and then they play Shamrock. They kind of their district schedule is, in my opinion, it's
pretty light.
It's not. It is, but what I think is interesting is that it's a sandwich. It's a sandwich with contender bread. Okay, because the first game is against Shamrock, and the last game's at Clarendon. Those are, in my opinion, the second and third right now where I sit, the second and third best teams in those districts. The middle part is where I think they're going to kind of roll past Memphis, Quanah, and Wheeler. So that is interesting to me that I would be very intrigued to see this final data point before they go into district play because we like Wellington, obviously. They started the year highly ranked in our rankings. They lost that but I want to see, to me, I need to see some offense from Wellington, and I need to see it tonight. I need to see it tonight. I don't need to see it down the road. I need to see it tonight against a defense that I think is still relatively vulnerable. My take. Anything else? You got anything? You want to tell people something?
We'll be on Bally Sports Southwest tonight, so tune in.
Yeah, turn on Bally Sports Southwest. It's a TV channel. It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you on Monday on Texas Football Today.